I'm gonna show you how to rehydrate a dehydrated sourdough starter. I dehydrated some of my sourdough starter. This is Bernice. I started her in 2017. I decided to try to dehydrate some to send to friends, to sell, and to be able to keep some, you know, in case something happens to my starter. That way I'll always have some. But I'm gonna show you how we rehydrate this. 20 grams of dehydrated starter. The first thing we need to do is rehydrate it. So I'm gonna start out by just putting my 20 grams of starter into a jar. Just have some lukewarm water. I don't use any kind of special water for my sourdough. She's very robust. You do whatever you think is best, but Bernice is a tough old bird. She does fine with tap water. So I'm gonna start out by putting 3 tablespoons of water in. I'm just gonna let this soak up the water and reconstitute a bit. Check on it in a little while. This has been sitting for a couple hours now, and I would say it's pretty well rehydrated. I am going to put some flour in it and go ahead and do a first feed. I'm gonna do 3 tablespoons of bread flour. Oops. And this doesn't have to be exact. You can see that's a little too thick. I'm gonna add some of our water back to it. A little bit. That is about the consistency that I like to have Bernice at. So this is where I'm gonna leave it. So we wrote 5 tablespoons of water total, and then 3 tablespoons of flour. I'm gonna check back on it later tonight, and then we will check back in on it in the morning and see how it's doing. Okay, you can see some movement in there. I am going to go ahead and take part of this out and then feed it. Okay, so I dumped about half of it out. I'm trying to fix my KitchenAid. I have about 20 projects going on in here at one time. And then I remembered I needed to do this, so. 5 tablespoons of flour. That's what I do. That's about right. This is day 2, so I'm just gonna set it over here and let it do its thing. You can see all of the bubbles in there. It's actually been a little over 24 hours since I fed it. You can see I discarded most of it. I'm gonna go get some water. This is day 3. There we go. But I always go for a thicker feed. So we're gonna check on this one in the morning and see how it's doing. I am gonna do another feed on it. This is about 12 hours after I fed it last. There was a ton of bubbles in there. So this is how I feed the sourdough. A little bit of water in there. I don't know, maybe that's probably about 1/4 cup of water or so. I don't know. Y'all know I just eyeball it. I know that makes it a little bit more difficult for you guys, but really that's kind of the goal. Learn the consistency. I'm gonna start with a 1/2 cup of flour and see where that gets us. Yep, I'd say that's about right. So there we go. That's our consistency. We're gonna let it sit. I'm gonna watch it and see exactly how long it takes for it to rise. I think we're getting to the baking point at this point. So I just have this really stretchy band I'm gonna put around it right where it is now. So that way I'm not trying to remember later how far it was. I forgot to record before I dumped my discard. It did rise. It rose about that much from where it was, so it's getting there. I'm gonna feed it again tonight, and then we'll check back tomorrow morning. Maybe I'll remember to record it. I think we're getting closer to it being full-fledged, ready to go. She's active, she's bubbly, and ready to bake. Look at that. I started this 5 days ago with rehydrating the dried starter. That's pretty good. It was 5 days from powder to bread.